Hello, welcome to your second piano lesson. My name is Sean Lewicki. Today, we're going to learn some exciting things. We're going to learn how to make a minor chord. We're going to learn how to use the sustain pedal. And we're also going to hopefully learn our first song. Let's get started. Let's do a quick recap from our first lesson. We learned 7 major chords, starting with C. We noted there is a shape to how you make that. And then we have D, E, F, G, A, B, and back to C. And we also learned that with each of these, we can take this shape, we can lift this and move it an octave down, and that is still a C major chord. The root, C, is here. Look at the shape. Look at that shape, even spaced. Look at that shape. There's a gap here. Still C major. Still C major. And we can do that with every single chord. Moving on. Let's talk about minor chords. We're now going to learn the minor chords to each of those 7 basic major chords we learned. The important thing I want you to remember is that we're not learning a bunch of new chords. No, we're going to keep it as basic as we can. So think of it rather as a modification to the chords that you already know that are major. We'll start with C. That is the C major chord. That is the triad. All we're going to do is take this middle note and we're going to flat it down 1/2 step. That is now C minor. A couple things to note here. All major chords seem to have this bright quality. You're going to train your ear to be able to detect this. And all the minor chords, they have a different feel to them. Again, listen how they sound. We're going to take this with now the D major. It's bright. We're going to make it a D minor. We're going to take this guy here and we're going to flat it. Now it's D minor. Before I go any further, I want to explain another way to know which key you're going to flat. For example, this is C major, but as we just discussed, this is also C major. Remember, because that. Okay. So, if we're going to make this a C minor, we don't want to use our middle key. We're still going to use this E here and flat that to make it a minor. I'm going to get slightly technical only because I have to, but this is how it's supposed to be explained. To make a major a minor, you flat the third. What does that mean? The third refers to the third note in the scale of that key. Okay, so C is all the white keys. That's the scale. So we're going to take the third one and we're going to flat it. Okay. The problem with this is that it gets really confusing if you're trying to remember things like to make C major, C minor, I must take the E and make it an E flat. Okay, a much easier way is think of your basic triad for C, and you're going to take that middle note and you're going to flat it to make it minor. But if you're playing C in this inversion, you still recognize that it is a C chord. Even though your lowest note is not a C, it is still a C chord. Look at the shape of that, of that, of that, of that. Okay, knowing that it's a C chord means you know you can flat that third. Okay, and the important thing to remember is you just have to know which finger to flat. Okay? It's easy. So let's do a G. C, D, E, F, G. That's a G major. We're going to flat the third. Now it's minor. Let's go back to major. Perhaps we're playing it this way. Okay. Because we know it's a G major chord, we know it's this finger that's going to be flatted to make it minor. Look at the overall shape of what I'm playing. That would be the major. We're now making that the major, but it's always the same note that you flat to make it the minor. So going to E. Listen to the brightness of the E major chord. Now we're going to make it a minor. Okay. But we could also play it. Let's go back to major. Move this up here. That's still an E major, but if we want to make it minor, it's still the same note that makes it minor when we flat it 1/2 step, or in other words, to the next note down. Major chords and minor chords are the two biggest things you absolutely have to understand to be able to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish, and then the rest will come. Let's move on to our next thing. Okay, the next thing we need to learn, and this one's super important, is the usage of the sustain pedal. I think a lot of teachers might not reinforce very early on the need for the sustain pedal. You got to learn it. You got to learn it right away, because it's going to make a huge difference in how well your playing sounds. Okay, and I'm going to break it down really simple. It's not as hard as you think. Most regular pianos have 3 pedals. The 2 on the left, forget them. You actually don't need to even learn about them at all, as far as I'm concerned. You only need to know that one pedal, and one pedal only. On a regular piano, it would be the one on the right. Oftentimes with a keyboard, you might only have one pedal. And it's called the sustain pedal. And we're going to learn that. I want to talk really quickly, though, about keyboards. Since a lot of you are going to be playing on a keyboard, you might not have a sustain pedal or any sort of pedal with your keyboard. However, many keyboards, if you look on the back, will have a port where you can plug in a sustain pedal. And these pedals usually have a standard connector, and it's basically a simple switch, on or off. So you don't need the brand that came with your keyboard. The only thing I will mention, let me grab this really quick. Sometimes on the back of the pedal, we have a little switch here. It's basically determining whether it's normally open or normally closed. That's a bunch of gobbledygook, but basically, if your pedal is working backwards when you plug it in, for example, it's sustaining when you have the pedal lifted, not when you have it pushed down, you're going to look for a switch like this and you're going to flick it, and that's probably going to solve your problem. Moving on. The way that the sustain pedal works is exactly the way you would think it would work. I'm going to hold a key, C. Hold on, let me get reconfigured here. I'm going to press, okay, C. I'm going to press the pedal with my foot, and when I lift the note still rings out. Why is this important? Simple. Say I'm going to play a very simple chord progression. I'm going to go C, G, C, G. There's a break every time I lift my hand, but when I use the sustain pedal, okay, now we have continuity in our sound. There's only one hurdle in using the sustain pedal, and that is, initially, it's counterintuitive. You want to push your foot down as your hand comes down. We have a tendency to sync our limbs in this fashion. This is the wrong way to do it. So what you actually have to train yourself to do, and it's difficult at first, but once you get it, you will never, ever unget it. But basically, you're going to play the chord, depress the pedal, lift the chord while the pedal's depressed, and as you push the next chord down, you lift the pedal at the same time. If you don't do that, it's going to sound blurred. If I just hold it, Okay, so again, and I'll use different chords just so your ear doesn't get tired, but like if we do a D, we're gonna hold that. We're gonna go to this thing. But that's how it works. You play the chord, you depress the pedal, hold it, and when you lay down that next chord, you lift the pedal at the same time. Once you've got that, you've basically got it, and then you can experiment further from there. Moving on. Okay, so we're ready to play our first song. We're going to play Creep by Radiohead. It's really easy. It's only 4 chords, and it's chords you already know. By the way, you'll find that a lot of popular songs at their basic level are just 3 or 4 chords, something like that, sometimes the whole way through. In this case, it's 4 chords the whole way through. Obviously, there are variations of them, but we are going to learn the basic structure of this song. We're going to talk about notation because we have to and because it's useful. What's going to happen is you're going to want to play a song and you're going to look up the chords for the song, and you're probably going to go to some page that has guitar chords, and that's fine because guitar chords work perfectly on the piano. You don't have to do any translation at all. It's beautiful. So let's say we want to play a C major. The way that would be noted, are you ready for this? Literally just a C. There's nothing else there. If you hear C, you assume it's C major. Major is always assumed. Okay, if we want to play C minor, they're going to write it with a small m. C small m is C minor. And that's it. If you're reading it text-wise on the computer, it might look more like that because it's a capital C and a lowercase m, and that tells you to play C minor. To play Creep by Radiohead, as I said, it's 4 chords. It's going to be G major, B, B major, C, C major, and C minor. That's literally the whole song. Let's see how that works. G, B, C, C minor. I'm going to put this aside. It starts on a G and it moves to a B. We're gonna hit the C now. A C minor, please. Back to the G, baby. Now the B. What the hell, I'm gonna play a C now. And it's a C minor now. 'Cause I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo with a B major, and now it's a C. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. C minor, please. Oh, 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 oh. Ooh. Da, da, do, ba, ba, do, la, da, da, yo. La, da, do, la, da, da, do, do, do. La, da, do, do, do.